Yo, hello, this is Eric Washington. This is video number 351, memoir number 4. Memoir number 4. Today I want to talk about being intentional, not taking your time for granted, enjoying your youth, enjoying those early days before things get real. And let me just say, for some people, life has always been real. Excuse me. For some people, life has always been real, and they never really got to have a quote-unquote childhood, or they never got to have time to themselves. Maybe they had to raise their family at a young age, or maybe they had to take care of their parents at a young age, so they had to grow up quickly. So maybe if that's you, the more my take on being intentional in your life might be more towards you. And then for some people, I think we have this problematic view of reclaiming or admiring or holding on to your youth as if the youth is the best part of your life, or the only way to achieve happiness, or the last bastion of happiness that we have. But I always like to say, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. And that could be for anything. Playing a sport. Playing as a child. Playing a sport. Playing as a child. Doing your hobbies. Whatever that means. Being youthful. You don't stop being youthful because you get old. This is a better one. You get old because you stop being youthful. Okay. With that all out of the way, let's get to what I want to talk about. So I graduated high school in 2012, and I went to college the fall of 2012. And at first, my college experience wasn't that great because I didn't really appreciate the blessing I had. And I really should have, because I barely graduated high school. I had a lot going on personally in my mental and emotional health, and it took a toll on school. But I had people who believed in me, and they helped me graduate. And that's a long story short. But when I got to college, it wasn't the college that I wanted to go to. In fact, I went to the exact opposite school I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to the rival school. And if you know where I went to college, then you know what the rival school is, or at least was, back when I started there. But lo and behold, I didn't get into the rival school, so I had to go to basically the school that was in my hometown, where I graduated high school. And man, I didn't appreciate my blessing. And for the first year and a half, a lot of it was a blur because I was trying to survive. I wasn't ready for college. Like I said, I barely graduated high school. And honestly, even if I was well prepared, or even if I did do well in high school, I would say that my high school wasn't the most college preparatory high school there was. So I wouldn't have been ready anyways. And that's just my opinion. But lo and behold, it wasn't until maybe a year and a half, the start of my sophomore semester, where I began to find community. Where I began to find community. And I kind of took that and ran with it, man. I just started joining each and everything. And now I can be honest with myself and say that I was joining things because I enjoyed the mission, or I was interested in the mission, I was interested in the work, and um, I enjoyed the work, and they synced with me ideologically. But I was also just trying to find a sense of family, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But I was trying to find a sense of community for each different identities that I had. So I joined a lot of organizations, and I just ended up being really stretched thin, and my grades suffered. My commitments to my organization suffered, and undergrad just kind of became a blur. There are very, very small experiences during my undergrad career that I can remember, simply just because they were like these big monumental experiences, and it's kind of hard to forget those. So, but I will say, because of those organizations, I was able to do some amazing things that I would have never been able to do, nor would I ever thought I'd be able to do in my lifetime. So I just want to start by saying that. But I say all that to say, I contextualize all that to say that, now that I'm in graduate school at the same institution, I see a lot of undergraduate students running around, and man, like, I miss it. Like, I miss everything but the course load of undergrad. Like, I miss being several years younger. I'm not that old, but I miss being several years younger and kind of having that fresh, new, excited feeling of being out in the world and away from high school, and kind of starting your new life as a somewhat adult, and living in the dorm, and walking all over campus trying to go to your classes and joining organizations and meeting new people. And there's not a lot of that, at least where I'm at, for grad students. Grad students, it's very much, you're really in your books. Like, there's not much joining organizations and going to parties and stuff like that. There's not a lot of that for grad students. That's more of an undergrad thing. And if you end up getting caught, this doesn't happen to me, but I can only imagine that if you're a grad student, you find yourself in a room full of undergrads, and maybe you look the part of a grad student, or you just stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, you get clowned. So I say that to say that, like, I really miss it, and I want to encourage everyone who's listening to this to, like, really slow down and cherish where you are right now. I didn't do that in undergrad because I was so stretched out then. I was so stressed out. I was just in a blur, just trying to make it day by day because I was broke, living paycheck to paycheck. I was not a good student, so I was constantly stressed out about my grades. I was going through the usual young person type identity crisis, chasing skirts and trying to make sure I had the coolest stuff, and so I could be the big man on campus. And it all just eventually became a blur, to the point where I can't, like I said before, I can't really remember a lot of undergrad. But man, like, if you're young and listen to this, or if you're an undergrad listening to this, or if you're just listening to this, man, like, life is super short. And my undergrad was only 4 years, and I don't remember a lot of those 4 years just because I was so stressed out, and I really didn't get to take advantage of that time, man. That's 4 years kind of lost. I won't say wasted, because I don't necessarily believe that milestones can be wasted, but man, like, there was a lot of parties I didn't go to because I was stressed out. There was a lot of organizations I didn't join because I was stressed out. There was like a lot of, I mean, I'm in a happy relationship now, but there's like a lot of, women I was interested in that, I didn't pursue because I was stressed out, and and self-conscious and had low self-esteem, just all that other stuff. And I say that to say that there's just a lot of experiences. There was a lot of experiences and yeah, there's a lot of experiences that I just missed out on because I wasn't intentional, because I didn't take a step back, breathe it all in, focus, and just understood the value of where I was at. I didn't understand the value of it. I was taking it day by day, stressed out, wondering what my next meal was going to be, wondering what my next check was going to come, wondering what my next scheme was going to be, wondering what the next thing I was going to buy to try to impress the person next to me. Wondering, who was the next girl I was gonna crush over or stare at in the corner at the party instead of go talk to her. That kind of like stupid stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis, and we just forget about everything that's around us. And man, like, I miss it. Like, had I just valued where I was, and this isn't just about parties and skirt chasing and being financially healthy. This is about just being intentional and valuing where you're at. I didn't value where I was at, therefore that's why my grades suffered. I didn't study as much as I could have. I didn't keep my grades as much as I could have. I didn't network with people as much as I could have. I didn't talk with my professors as much as I could have. And I had some great professors, some amazing people, and they remember my face, even though like I said, I was not a good student, so I didn't contribute that much in class, but they remember my face and they talk to me. And now, as a grad student, we can have proper conversations because I'm able to contribute and speak that academic language. But I can only imagine what valuable conversations or life lessons I could have had because they would have spoken to me as an undergraduate student instead of a graduate student. See, now, because I'm a graduate student, they expect certain things or they assume certain things. So, a lot of it's going to be academic and job talks, but, sometimes I just want to learn a life lesson, or I just want to learn from you in a casual conversation, but a lot of times you won't get that from faculty because they expect and assume certain things. But as an undergrad, it's a little bit different because they know you're on a journey and they will speak to you differently. And I'm getting off on a tangent, but I say that to say is that I wasn't intentional with my academics. I wasn't intentional with my social life. I wasn't intentional with my finances and my spiritual and emotional health. There was a lot of things I wish I could have done differently besides grades. Socially, I wish I could have done things differently. Academically, socially, emotionally, financially, there's a lot of dumb decisions I made because I wasn't valuing where I was. And this is all just a long-winded memoir to say, man, that like, take a step back, understand where you're at, value where you're at, and enjoy it. If I had this mindset 4 years ago, at 21, not even 4 years ago, because I did work for 2 years, so 6 years ago, when I was 18 year old kid just going into college, if I had this mindset, man, I can only imagine what a great college experience I could have had. Man, I told you I barely graduated high school. I barely graduated undergrad. I was a horrible student. I barely graduated. I don't remember hardly any of the stuff I was taught, and that's not because I had bad faculty, bad professors. I had great professors. I had leaders in their fields type of professors. But I was just living life day to day, almost like a zombie, just chasing clout and chasing just BS because I didn't value where I was. And now I'm repeating myself. So we're at about 15 minutes in, and man, I just want to say, like, I wish I could have done this one more eloquently, more articulately, but I think I got the point across, man. Because I miss it. I miss being. I just hit my quarter life, and man, I wish I could have those early 20s back. Like, if I had the mindset I had now, back then, oh man, I would have been the man. I would have been the man on campus. I would have been the man. Oh man, there were so many things I wanted to do. I'll be straight up. I'll be transparent, man. Like, my GPA was horrible because I wasn't intentional. My romantic life, non-existent until the later part of my undergrad, where I met the wonderful woman that's in my life now. But I didn't get a chance to, like, I think we all know what I'm trying to say. I didn't really get a chance to, like, really have these romantic experiences that you would normally see in a college life. I was so stressed out about clout chasing that I completely missed having clout. Like, you see these young people. Why do I keep saying young people? I'm not that far from them. I'm still young. Anyways, you see these people on Twitter just, like, really doing it, like, really going viral by just living their regular college life. And I wasn't doing that because I was so stressed out, overly chasing clout. I was doing too much, and I missed the mark. Finances. I was broke. I was broke, living check to check, payment to payment, refund to refund. That was my undergrad life. But, and I say that to say, man, that last point. I say that to say I wasn't valuing, I wasn't acknowledging, I wasn't intentional with my position in life. I wasn't intentional with my position in life. So I encourage everyone, because life is short, man. Life is so short. And I think, and I don't know if this is my quarter life crisis, because I'm not wilding out and acting crazy and trying to do stuff that the undergrads are doing. But I just have this constant lingering reminder that life is short, man. Like, life is so short. And if you've been on Twitter lately, I know everyone talks about these, like what is it? The one Twitter where it's like, everyone make your wildest confession. And some people are like, one dude was like, man, I walk on the sidewalk and I look at somebody and I just think, like, what would happen if I just slapped them right here, you know? And that's funny, right? But I have a similar thought where it's like, man, what if I'm just, like, walking down the street and I just take a bullet to the head and it's over? And for some people, that happens like that. In some places in the United States, hell, some places in the state I live, some places in Texas, it's like that. But, and that kind of brought the mood down. But I say that to say, man, is that life is short. Your life can end like that. I recently heard about somebody who passed in their sleep from the flu. They passed in their sleep from the flu. You could just go to sleep on a regular day and not wake up. You could. It could be a bad day, which is horrible to die on your bad day, or it could be a great day, or it could just be a regular day. You told yourself the day before that I'll finish this homework assignment tomorrow. I'll finish this paper tomorrow. I'll read this last chapter tomorrow. I love you, baby. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up from work tomorrow. We'll go out to eat tomorrow. And then you drive that morning or you drive that late night trying to get home, and a drunk driver hits you, or you veer off the road on a rainy day, or who knows what, man. Like, I'm saying that to say is that anything can happen. Not everyone makes it to their deathbed and can peacefully pass. Not everyone makes it to old age, man. Like, you can die at any moment. So, sorry, I say that to say, and I'm about to end. We're at 20 minutes right now. I'm about to end. I say that to say, value where you're at right now. Start right now. Start right now. Spread the word. Pay it forward. Tell everyone right now to value where they're at, regardless of the hardships. Because I know for some people life is hard, and it's hard to value where you're at. I understand. Believe me, I know. I know sometimes you're living check to check. I know sometimes you're living day to day. I know sometimes you're living just to get by, just to survive, just so your kids can eat. I know some of you, and I know some of you who aren't even eating right now because you're feeding your kids. You're making sure they're healthy and they're fed. And I know it's hard, but take a step back. Look at where you're at. Look at what you've gone through, what you've been victorious over, what you've conquered, what you've made it through, and value where you are. The earlier you start, the better. Value where you are. And even if you haven't gained one thing from this, let me tell it to you this way. Value where you are, so you don't feel the regret I feel, because I didn't value where I was when I was younger. I'm glad I learned that now at 25, so I can take this on to my later life and whatever I do. And I can spread the word, and I can tell it to my kids. And that's why I create these memoirs, so people can learn from me, but especially so my kids and grandkids can learn from me. But value where you are so you don't feel regret. Take a step back and just list the things that you're grateful for, that you're thankful for, that are blessings. Acknowledge those things. Be intentional. Value where you're at. Because life is short, man. And time flies by. Even if you make it to old age. Even if you're old right now. Life is short and time flies. All this stuff, all this pain, these trials, it's going to be a blur. It's going to be a blur later. It's going to be a blur. And you may not laugh about it, but you'll remember it. And you're like, wow, I made it through that. But you didn't cherish those days because you were so worried about the day-to-day stuff. All right. I'm dragging on. But this is Eric Washington. Video 351, memoir number 4. I'm going to leave you with this. Value where you are right now. Acknowledge it. Treasure it. Cherish it. And love where you're at. Love where you're at. Even if it's hard, love where you're at, because life is short. These days go by fast. And you don't want to have 1 ounce of regret. You don't want to lay up at night wondering what could have been. You don't want to live life like that. So, cherish where you're at. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Yeah. Eric Washington signing off. Thanks for listening.